I'm not entirely certain how to preface this video. I mean, I don't have anything important to talk about. Maybe just a little bit of Warhammer 40k. All right, just a moment. Just a moment. I'll be right back. See this? Interestingly enough, my cousin is really into Warhammer 40k, and he sent me this. It's a Battle Sisters Warhammer 40k squad. Yeah, I was like, this faction most interests me because, well, if you want to, that book's not released yet. It is not. Whatever. Eventually, I'll release a book where there's the equivalent of like Battle Sisters in the book. It's called October Autumn, Daughter of the Dawn. You can't get it anywhere right now. I published it for a while, but no one bought it, so I unpublished it. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to sell the manuscript. Anyways, so I've been into Warhammer 40k recently for the past couple of days. And Warhammer 40k is a pretty bleak universe. I mean, Warhammer 40k is the origination of the term grimdark. Like, if you've heard the term grimdark, that term came from Warhammer 40k. Basically, what happens is that the tagline of Warhammer says, "In the far future, there is only war. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war." And I'm like, makes sense. So, Warhammer 40k is tongue-in-cheek. It's very much tongue-in-cheek when it comes to how bleak the lore actually is. It's very tongue-in-cheek. Even in the most, like, like there's stories of entire planets being obliterated and trillions of people dying. It's still tongue-in-cheek because it's just so freaking... Well, one of the things about Warhammer 40k lore is that unlike Star Wars, it gets space civilization more right. In Warhammer 40k, there are over 1 million human worlds, and 85% of those human worlds have more than like 50 billion people on them. So there's like hundreds of trillions of humans in this galaxy, hundreds of trillions of them. And they're like, and it's like in Star Wars, you don't really get that, like in Star Wars, it's just you don't get the scale in Star Wars. Like you have Coruscant, right, and you have Taurus, and those are the only two Ecumenopolis cities I can think of in Star Wars. But in Warhammer 40k, there are over 800,000 Ecumenopolis cities. Like that. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of humans, and it's just like they get it right. They get it right on how it would look. Also, their depiction of the future being very grim and very dark, while tongue-in-cheek, sadly, may actually be an actual possibility of how humans will devolve after a cataclysmic event. So, Warhammer takes place in the 41st millennium. By context, we are in the 2nd millennium AD. We're not talking like we're in the 21st century, but we're in the 2nd millennium. So, Warhammer 40k takes place 38,000 years after today, which is a long time for humanity to branch out and have things happen to them. So the background of Warhammer 40k is that humans were once a powerful, enlightened species who were very technologically powerful, who had a lot of technology, a lot of AI, a lot of that good stuff. They were very enlightened, and they had a galaxy-spanning empire that ruled based on fairness and law and enlightenment. And then what happened is that a series of disasters sent humanity spiraling into a dark age, And in the current age, the world is like a mixture of 14th century Spanish Inquisition, like the Crusade. Basically, it's like the Crusades in space. Like these Warhammer guys, they worship technology, and they worship this guy called the God Emperor, who's like a giant skeleton on Earth who consumes the souls of the psychics. It's bleak, it's grim, and it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Like there's a lot of funny things, even though it's grim, it's dark, but they're still. I like the lore, but one of the things about this kind of deep lore, which exists in these hobby spaces, so Dungeons and Dragons also has lore that is as deep as Warhammer 40k. It's not as grim dark, but it is deep, it is expansive, and it's unique. And the thing about these universes is that they've been around for like 30 or 40 years. Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer have been around, Warhammer since like the 90s and D&D since the 70s. And they've had thousands of very talented world builders, artists, painters, engineers, storytellers, and product developers working their asses off to create this lore. Like, this is the kind of lore that one person cannot create. Like, there are dozens of books, full-length books, in the Warhammer 40k universe. I'm not entirely certain how many. It could be up to 100. There are dozens and dozens of 40k books, all of which are internally coherent and cross-referencing, and all of them are full-length novels. Some of them are actually pretty good. And Warhammer also has dozens and dozens of game spin-offs, you know? And just like the Star Wars, like, these big properties, like Star Wars Legends, you know, I really wish they hadn't gotten rid or decanonized Star Wars Legends, because Star Wars Legends was so cool, you know? Anyways, I digress. So these. But the problem is that all of these universes are copyrighted. They're copyrighted. So you can't write in these universes and make money off of them. Number one, you can do fan fiction. Fan fiction is okay as long as you don't try to monetize it. Number two, you can get hired by the company itself to write a book in their turf. And both of those options are a no-no for me. I don't do fan fiction because I just don't believe that it is genuine creation. I believe that fan fiction is piggybacking off of the resonance of the fiction that you are fanficking off of. I don't like fan fiction, okay? I think it's a waste of time because it's not yours. When you write fan fiction, although, did you know that the longest work in the English language is a fan fiction, clocking in at 4.5 million words? That is longer than the Wheel of Time, okay? And it's a fan fiction of Kankale, like a Japanese anime called Kankale, where they anthropomorphize battleships. Like, battleships are turned into cute girls. Like, they're simultaneously battleships and cute girls. Like, look it up, Kankale. It is the longest piece of written fiction in English, in the English language. And it is a fan fiction about frickin' Kankale. Like, what's going on there? What's going on there? In my entire writing career, I've only written 1.5 million words. And I have... here, just a moment. I'll be right back. Oh my god. Oh shit. Okay. I'm back. See this? This is my bibliography, okay? This is all 16 books I've published, okay? Let's go through them one at a time. They're in order. Oh my god. Yeah, let's get another look at that. See, this is my bibliography. This is 1.5 million words and 5 years 6 years, 7 years of work. All right. So we got number 1, Armed, Cute, and Dangerous, the first book I ever wrote. It's a weird one. War on the Rolling Plains, one of my favorites. Power Trip, not one of my favorites, but the longest one I've written. Dungeons and Diamonds, I love the cover of Dungeons and Diamonds. Binary 7, you can buy this one on Amazon for 99 cents. The Lascivia, only available in paperback. Lucky Star, you can't get this anywhere. Galaxy of the Dead, you can't get this anywhere either. Mac, you can get this in book and audiobook form. If you want a free code for the audiobook of Mac, put a comment below. We're halfway through. October Autumn, Daughter of the Dawn. This is the one I was talking about. My Love Me. I don't think anyone's ever read. It's one of my favorites, but no one's ever read it before. The League of Displaced Magical Individuals. By the way, all of these covers, except a couple, are interim covers. They aren't meant for commercial release. These aren't the actual covers. The League of Displaced Magical Individuals. You can't get that one either. Bibliotruckers, the craziest one I've ever written. Even though I wrote a book about a McDonald's restaurant that transforms into a giant robot, this is still the craziest one I've ever written. The lesser one, the one that's available on Amazon and has 7 5-star reviews. The Alchemist, which is currently in production. And To Be a Hero, the sequel to The Alchemist, which is currently in production as well. This is like 15 pounds of paper. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. 15 pounds of paper. I'll organize these after the video is done. Can you believe that? This is how much stuff I've written. And can you believe it? Can you believe it? Bibliotruckers. And look, these are full books, okay? Each one of them is like 300 pages. And I'm still not a successful author. I once heard that it takes 2 million words to get your sea legs. I'm 3/4 of the way there, working on it every day. My next story is called The Firebird. It's one of the first ones I wrote, but now it's a rewrite, and yeah, it's a lot of books. Empire Bibliography. I think I can be proud of that, you know? Zombies in Space and Other Things. Stell is an orbital dropper. Hardened, tested, tough, crack soldier, every one of those describes him. The galaxy is at war against an undead threat, one that consumes everything in its path and turns it to its side, and Stell is part of the fight against it. On a mission like any other, things go sour, and he and his squad are trapped on the surface of an infected planet with an enemy that is dangerous, hungry, and constantly evolving. All he has to rely on is his experience and his training. Everything else is useless. Against an enemy that is larger than life, there's only one way to win. Survive. You can't get either of these anywhere. They're not published. Neither of these is published. They're both pretty short as far as books go. Like this one. This one's like twice the size. You see? Bibliotruckers. Yeah, so this one is about truckers that truck through books, like book truckers, like truckers that actually truck through books. Freaking awesome, dude. Although it does get a little weird. It gets a little weird. You can't get this one anywhere either. I think you can only buy 6 of my books out of the 15 of them online. The Alchemist, baby! rare occasion around Brownfield, but occasionally sky ships would pull into the tiny port and deliver goods and passengers. The city as a whole was away from major trade routes, and most sky ship sightings happened on the far horizon. The ships, of course, flew with magic, appearing to be just like old-fashioned ships back home with sails in every axis. About half an hour after Jonas left, Rachel returned for some errands she had been running. "Can you get Moray for me?" I said. Sure," said Rachel. Typo. Freaking typo. I open it up and I see a fucking typo. Sheesh. Great. Now I have to reorganize all my books. That'll take a minute. Oh well. So, as you can see, I am a veteran at the craft. I would call myself a veteran. It's been 6 years, no 7 years since I started writing.